Something in you is transmitting right now, even in silence. The air around you carries it, the walls remember it, and reality quietly rearranges itself to match. You think nothing happens when you feel small, when you spiral in worry or tension, but the field is never idle. It mirrors exactly what you vibrate. Every thought, every heartbeat, every hesitation becomes instruction. The universe doesn't read your words, it reads your frequency. And the field reacts instantly. That's the paradox no one teaches you. Reality doesn't wait for your plan, your dream board, your perfect affirmation. It's already syncing with your current state. If there's friction inside, the outside world echoes it back. If there's coherence, even for a few breaths, everything starts to move differently. You might call it coincidence. The field calls it feedback. Imagine standing in front of an invisible ocean that bends itself around your pulse. Each time you tense, the current thickens. Each time you soften, it clears. That's how creation actually happens. Not in the mind, but in the subtle rhythm between your breath and your being. And here's what's at stake. Most people live their whole lives sending mixed signals, craving peace while vibrating fear, asking for abundance while holding scarcity in their chest. The field doesn't choose for them, it simply reflects. What if, instead of trying to push reality, you learn to tune it? What if a single shift inside you could start rewriting everything you see outside? Because the truth is unnerving and liberating at once. The field is always listening. Every second, every breath, every emotion, a signal, a ripple, a new command to the unseen. The only question that matters now is this: what are you teaching reality to become? Most people never realize how loud their energy has become. They wake up already pulled by noise, the rush of thoughts, the weight of unfinished plans, the quiet hum of anxiety disguised as movement. It's subtle, but it leaks. The body tightens, the breath shortens, and suddenly life feels heavier, slower, almost resistant. They call it stress. The field calls it interference. And that's when the feedback loop begins. What you send out, you start to live inside. What you resist, you start to amplify. The universe doesn't punish, it calibrates. You've probably felt it before, the day when everything seems off for no clear reason. The coffee spills, the call drops, people react strangely, and you swear the world woke up against you. But look closer. It isn't the world moving differently. It's your frequency vibrating out of sync, and reality simply following orders. Like a mirror fogged by breath, clarity disappears until you remember to pause and wipe it clean. The field is neutral but responsive. It doesn't interpret language, only vibration. When you think, "I'm fine," but your body whispers fear, the field listens to the whisper. When you pretend to be calm while your chest burns with tension, it hears the fire, not the mask. And that's why change feels so hard, because it's not about what you say, it's about what you radiate when you're not speaking. But there's something extraordinary in that. If reality mirrors you with such precision, then even the smallest inner shift matters. A single breath taken in awareness can realign everything. A moment of stillness can reset the rhythm of your world. It's subtle, invisible to the eye, but undeniable to the experience. That's why so many people choose to stay close to these teachings, quietly transforming with each new insight, because something in them recognizes truth when they feel it, not when they hear it. And somewhere inside you, there's a knowing that this resonance isn't random. It's the edge of something deeper, a doorway you've brushed against before but never fully stepped through. You can almost feel it waiting, listening, ready to respond the instant you remember how. There's a moment when the disconnect becomes impossible to ignore. You can feel life reflecting you back in distorted ways, people misunderstanding your tone, plans falling through for reasons that seem absurd, timing that once flowed suddenly turning against you. It feels unfair, but what's really happening is subtler, almost surgical. The field isn't punishing you, it's exposing the vibration you've forgotten you're sending. Every resistance, every suppressed emotion, every breath you hold is a silent broadcast. And the consequences go deeper than frustration. They bleed into everything: the way doors stop opening, how conversations lose warmth, how even your body begins to echo the tension of your energy. Fatigue creeps in, not from effort, but from misalignment. The more you try to force clarity, the thicker the fog becomes. That's the trap. Effort born from fear amplifies the very frequency that blocks flow. You can't demand harmony while vibrating chaos. Picture it: a radio tuned slightly off the right station. The song is there, but distorted, full of static. You strain to hear the melody, turning the dial harder, but the harder you twist, the more the sound dissolves. Until, finally, you stop. The moment your hand softens, the note comes into focus. That's coherence, not control, but surrender to precision. The universe speaks in these fine adjustments, not grand gestures. And yet, most live unaware of how quickly the field answers. One stray thought can bend the atmosphere around you. One fearful breath can alter the path of an entire day. But it works both ways. A single shift toward calm, even after chaos, can pull reality back into rhythm. That's what makes this truth both terrifying and magnificent. You are never not creating. You are never not transmitting. Every heartbeat, every sigh, every pause is either friction or flow. It's strange, isn't it? To realize that reality might be reacting faster than your awareness can catch up. That what you're living now could be the echo of a vibration you sent hours ago, or days. And somewhere, just beyond that echo, something is waiting to change, the instant you remember that it's listening. Sometimes the realization doesn't arrive as light, it comes as quiet collapse. The moment you stop trying to fix the outside and finally feel what's been brewing inside. Maybe it's during a late night, when the house is still and the noise of the day dissolves, or in a fleeting second between breaths, when something in you whispers that life isn't against you. It's just mirroring what you've forgotten to notice. That pause, that fragile, humbling silence, is where transformation starts. You see, the field doesn't respond to the version of you that pretends everything's fine. It responds to the one underneath, the one that trembles, doubts, hopes, and still breathes through it all. When you stop performing alignment and simply allow yourself to feel, something softens in the invisible. Reality starts to rearrange, not out of magic, but out of resonance. It's like standing in front of water. The moment you calm your movements, the reflection becomes clear again. And maybe that's why this message finds you now. Because there's a part of you that's tired of effort, tired of reaching, tired of trying to hold stillness with clenched fists. The irony is that the field never asked you to prove anything. It just asked you to remember your tone. To breathe it. To embody it. To let every cell in your body hum the same note your heart has been playing in secret. This is the subtle point where many feel something shift. Not because they understand it logically, but because their energy recognizes itself in these words. It's where resistance melts into curiosity, and curiosity becomes permission. And it's often here, right here, that people choose to leave a silent trace, a small act of resonance, as if acknowledging that something invisible just aligned inside them. Still, this is only the surface. Beneath that first moment of recognition lies something deeper, something ancient, the memory of how creation really works. And once you glimpse it, you can't unsee it. You can only follow it inward, toward the quiet rhythm that has been watching you all along, waiting for the exact moment you were ready to feel it again. The deeper you listen, the more you notice that everything is alive with your frequency. The people who appear, the opportunities that unfold, even the moments of stillness between events, all of them respond to an invisible pulse that begins inside you. When that pulse is clear, life moves in rhythm. But when it fractures, the echoes return distorted. The world doesn't go silent, it simply starts speaking in a language you no longer understand. You can feel it in the smallest details. The message that doesn't arrive. The door that closes a second too soon. The face that turns away just as you reach out. It's easy to call it coincidence, but deep down you sense its choreography. The field mirrors your inner state not to punish, but to guide you, to show where coherence has been lost, where truth has been replaced by habit. And yet, that awareness can be unsettling. Because once you know you're creating, there's no one left to blame. Every emotion becomes a brushstroke, every thought a ripple, every breath a silent instruction. The more conscious you become, the more intimate the feedback gets. It's not a concept anymore, it's visceral, immediate. The line between cause and effect begins to blur until it feels like the universe is breathing with you, exhaling your lessons, inhaling your awareness. But there's beauty in that tension. The same force that reveals your disharmony also holds the key to your alignment. It's like light entering a room through a cracked door. It looks like a wound at first, but it's the opening that lets illumination in. The discomfort, the uncertainty, the quiet moments when nothing seems to move, all of it is calibration. The field rearranging itself to match the frequency you're becoming, not the one you've been clinging to. You might not see it yet, but something is building in that silence. A rhythm is forming beneath the surface, like a current gathering strength before the tide turns. It's the quiet before recognition, the instant before the invisible becomes undeniable. And when it happens, it won't come as noise or lightning. It will arrive softly, in the exact breath where you finally stop chasing and start remembering. There's a fragile moment between who you were and who you're becoming, and it often feels like standing on a bridge made of light that flickers beneath your feet. One part of you wants to run back to what's familiar, to the rhythm of old fears that at least you know how to navigate. The other part whispers to keep walking, to trust that each step creates the ground beneath you. This is the tension where transformation lives, not in the certainty of arrival, but in the trembling of the crossing. It touches everything. The way you speak begins to change. The silence between your words gains weight. People around you start to feel it, even if they can't name it. Some are drawn closer, others drift away, not out of rejection, but resonance. The field reorganizes your life with surgical precision, removing what no longer vibrates at the frequency you're stepping into. It's not punishment. It's pruning. And it hurts, because every leaf that falls carried a story you once called home. In those moments, doubt sneaks in disguised as logic. You question whether the shift is real, whether you're just imagining patterns in the noise. But deep inside, there's a stillness that doesn't lie, a quiet pulse that reminds you this isn't imagination, it's memory. Something ancient within you remembers this process, remembers the light reshaping matter from the inside out. It's slow, it's invisible, and yet it feels as if the entire universe is holding its breath with you. There's light, yes, but it's not gentle. It burns through the layers of pretense until only essence remains. It shows you where you still tighten, where you still resist your own expansion. It teaches through contrast, revealing grace inside loss, peace inside chaos, beauty inside endings. Every shadow you meet is simply the outline of light waiting to be reclaimed. And when you reach that point, where everything familiar dissolves, where silence grows almost deafening, it won't mean the journey is over. It will mean the next frequency is near, humming softly beneath the noise, asking if you're ready to let it in. The pause before the answer is where everything changes. And then, almost imperceptibly, the field begins to answer. Not with fireworks, not with grand miracles, but through subtle alignments that feel like whispers disguised as events. A conversation that unfolds differently this time. An opportunity that didn't exist the day before. The heaviness that used to sit in your chest dissolves without announcement. It's as if the universe adjusts itself a fraction of a degree, and suddenly, what was impossible a week ago starts to move toward you with quiet precision. You begin to notice that your reactions change first. The things that used to trigger resistance now pass through you like wind through leaves. Words once heavy no longer stick. It's not that life stopped testing you, it's that your vibration stopped matching the lesson. Every response you offer now sends a new signal into the field, and that signal carries your updated blueprint. It's the invisible math of coherence. Small, steady choices multiplying into momentum you can feel but not yet explain. People around you start to sense it too. Some look at you longer before speaking, as if they can't quite place what's different. Others feel a calm in your presence that draws them closer without knowing why. And perhaps, if you pay close attention, you'll notice the invisible chain reaction. How your internal harmony ripples outward, how your balance becomes permission for someone else's. It's never just about you. The field is communal. Every shift you sustain becomes a silent invitation for others to remember what they, too, are capable of. And maybe that's why moments like this spark reflection. Because when you witness subtle proof, the gentle echo between your energy and the world's response, something inside wants to name it, to give it form. Sometimes it appears as a thought, a realization that lands mid-sentence. Other times, it's simply the urge to share what shifted, as if putting it into words anchors it deeper into reality. Perhaps that's why so many pause here, to breathe, to write, to acknowledge that they felt the resonance. But don't mistake this for an ending. Every field response, every synchronization, is both confirmation and invitation, a sign that you've entered the dialogue of creation. And once you're inside it, the conversation doesn't stop. It deepens, asking only one question that echoes softly beneath everything. How much more coherence can you hold before reality bends again? The more you align, the more the field begins to test the strength of your vibration. Not to challenge you, but to refine you. The closer you move toward coherence, the subtler the tests become. It's no longer the obvious obstacles. It's the small distortions, the almost invisible hesitations, the moments where your old self tries to slip back into command. The universe has an elegant way of checking your calibration. It whispers temptation in the language of comfort. It invites you to settle just before expansion becomes irreversible. You start to see this pattern everywhere, in relationships, decisions, even in silence. The people who once mirrored your confusion begin to fade, not out of malice, but because the resonance no longer fits. It feels like loss, but it's really precision. The field doesn't remove, it refines. And in that refinement, loneliness can feel sharper than ever. The noise disappears before the music begins. That space between is sacred, but it's also raw, a waiting room between frequencies. Sometimes, clarity doesn't arrive as light. It comes as the dismantling of everything that's not aligned. Plans that used to make sense dissolve. Conversations that once felt safe now ring hollow. You begin to sense that what's collapsing isn't your life, it's your old vibration shedding its disguise. The dismantling is the doorway. The silence afterward is the threshold. What waits beyond it can't be seen, only felt, like warmth before sunrise or air before a storm. And yet, even in that uncertainty, something in you knows exactly what to do. Breathe slower. Listen closer. Let the rhythm steady itself. Every inhale rebuilds a new pattern. Every exhale releases what doesn't belong in the next version of your field. It's a dance between surrender and intention. One heartbeat of chaos, one heartbeat of clarity, both belonging to the same song. You can almost sense the shift forming now, like static before thunder. The field is listening, gathering, aligning. What it's preparing to return to you isn't random. It's precise. It's exact. But before it can respond, it waits, not for effort, not for control, but for the stillness that signals readiness. That is the moment just before reality bends, when the silence begins to hum. And then the silence starts to speak. Not in words, but in sensations, the kind that ripple beneath the skin, the kind that feel both foreign and familiar. You begin to notice that life is answering in patterns. The delay you once called frustration now feels like orchestration. The closed doors you resented begin to look like protection. It's strange how clarity doesn't always arrive as revelation, but as rearrangement, reality shifting pieces in quiet precision while you learn to stand still enough to see the design. There's a moment where you realize that the field isn't separate from you. It's not something you influence from the outside, it's an extension of your internal state, breathing in sync with your attention. Every time your focus softens, reality exhales. Every time you contract in fear, it mirrors the tension back to you. And that's when the game changes, when you see that control was never the goal. The real power was in coherence, the art of holding peace in motion, grace in momentum. Still, doubt doesn't vanish. It mutates. It wears new masks, subtle impatience, quiet comparison, a flicker of disbelief that whispers, "What if none of this matters?" But beneath that noise, the stillness waits, patient, unoffended. The field doesn't rush. It knows that expansion isn't about speed, it's about stability. It wants you to be able to hold what's coming without breaking under the weight of it. You can feel the light and shadow negotiating within you. One breath opens, the next contracts. One thought trusts, the next questions. But even that rhythm is part of the intelligence, a calibration of contrast that refines your signal. Without the flicker, the flame would never stabilize. Without resistance, resonance would have no anchor. It's in the imperfection that coherence becomes real. Some nights, the shift feels almost unbearable. Too much silence, too much space between what was and what will be. Yet something keeps you there, eyes open in the dark, listening for a hum that only the heart can detect. It's the same hum that guided galaxies into order, now rearranging the small universe within you. You can't name it, but you can feel it, that delicate gravity that tells you the transformation isn't ahead anymore. It's here, quietly unfolding beneath the skin of the moment, asking nothing but your stillness in return. And now, something subtle yet unmistakable happens. The air feels different, lighter, charged, as if the invisible currents around you have begun to recognize you as part of them. It's not that reality suddenly bends, it's that you've stopped standing against it. The field no longer feels like a force to manipulate, but like a partner that has been waiting, patient and unwavering, for your rhythm to align with its own. You sense it in small moments, how time slows when you breathe deeply, how decisions feel simpler when they rise from stillness, how the world seems to meet you halfway when you stop running ahead of it. Every transformation leaves a trace. You can feel the residue of your old frequency dissolving, the fragments of tension that once defined you melting away like ice under morning light. And in their place, there's space, wide, silent, alive. That space is the language of the field. It's how the universe tells you that you're ready. Ready to move from reaction to creation, from noise to signal, from searching to radiating. You're no longer reaching for alignment, you are alignment, a frequency so stable that it starts to tune everything it touches. This is where many pause, not out of doubt, but awe. Because once you sense how your inner world reshapes the outer, you can't return to the illusion of randomness. You begin to live differently. You speak with more care, listen with more presence, choose with more intention. Even your silence gains gravity, a quiet that draws things toward you instead of chasing them away. And maybe, in this stillness, you realize that every experience, even the painful ones, was choreography, each contrast a necessary note in the melody of coherence. The field mirrors gratitude faster than any other state. And right now, that's what it's reflecting, a recognition not of victory, but of connection. Because you didn't conquer reality. You remembered you were part of it all along. That remembrance is your transformation. It's the quiet triumph that doesn't need to be announced, only lived. If something inside you is humming, a small, steady yes, that's the field responding. It's acknowledging your resonance, the proof that you've crossed a threshold few notice, though everyone can feel. Let that yes become your signature. Breathe it, share it, let it ripple. And if this moment touched something in you, leave a trace of that coherence here, a word, a thought, a signal. Not for the algorithm, but for the frequency we're building together. Because every breath shared in awareness expands the field for us all.